Hey, you know what? We have some people sitting patiently in the studio just waiting for us to introduce them and bring them on the show. So why don't we do that now? We have some folks that were kind enough to come down here from Destructoid and hang out with us and talk to us about what they've seen this week at GDC. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce them now. Come on up, guys.
We need the Price is Right music.
When
When they're like, come on down.
All right. Here. How do you guys?
This mic is this not mic? No good? No good mic?
Yeah, it's no good.
No good?
No good,
no
Mike?
Bueno.
No bueno. What are you doing, tech guy?
Are we trying
Having all kinds of tech issues.
Having all kinds of tech
broken?
issues? Hey, you know what?
Just speak up.
Just speak up. I can speak up. I can be
Yeah.
loud.
All right,
I'm
let's
a
be
loud person.
loud and let's put that boom mic on, Austin. That's right behind you. Sweet. Why don't we put that on the camera over here? All right. So, guys, why don't you introduce yourselves really quick to the audience at home?
A lot of you guys might know me out there. I am King Foom from the Destructoid Twitch TV channel. I run the live page. I've been streaming for about 4 years. Doing this all over the place. Recently got with Destructoid here at my first GDC. It's very strange not seeing chat here. So I don't know who is actually out there watching me, but hey,
Yeah.
it is going well.
Yeah, I apologize. Normally we have chat room stuff set up, but it was, we're not doing the live Twitch
New experience.
office. Yeah, we're not used to shooting live in the Twitch offices. But at any rate, well, how was your first GDC treating you, man?
It is great. It is overwhelming in a great way. I have some great things I'll be coming home with. I don't want to talk too much about it. I like surprises. Note to self, bring walking shoes next time. My blisters have blisters on their blisters.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's going to be at least a week or two for all this to process once I get back home and let it all sink in. So it's been a great experience, though. It's been great being here, great being a part of Destructoid. And
Just like getting the GDC. Have you ever been to San Francisco in general?
Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
And I had the great first impression of the Tenderloin when I got here.
Oh, yes.
That was my first step into San Francisco.
We have a
it
stinky
was
city.
Interesting to say the least. But the rest of the city's beautiful.
Nice. What, you don't think midget hookers are beautiful?
They're interesting.
They're interesting. Oh,
Interesting, I like that.
Awesome. So, what have you seen so far, man? What's like really sticking out in your mind?
Suda 51 party.
The Suda 51 Lollipop Chainsaw.
I am a huge fanboy of Suda. I am a huge fan of James Gunn, and basically that whole party, though, that was everything I really wanted to do out here. It's my first GDC. I'm new with Destructoid, so there's only so much I can really get down out here, but really what I wanted to do was network with Twitch people, Destructoid people, and meet Suda 51. So it was like that whole night, everyone was there. That was it. I would have been satisfied and ready
Like
to go.
you could have, yeah.
That'd been it, yeah.
Awesome.
So other than that, it's just been kind of, networking, get my face out there.
Awesome, doing your thing. Well, welcome, man. Thank you for coming. Yeah, so, I see you're kind of outnumbered here. I don't know, did you make it to the Suda 51 party as well?
No, I missed the Suda party. I don't party. As a rule, like I'm gonna go out to a party and I'm gonna shake some hands with some people, and then I'm gonna go home and go to sleep because I'm an old man who doesn't like to socialize. It's not my thing, but I'm glad Foom enjoyed it. I'm here for games. I'm here to check out new content and things like that. Talk to developers. Epic Games China has a new game that they're showing here, Mercenary Ops, which is actually pretty cool. It's a third-person shooter, kind of in the vein of a Gears of War, but it's much more of a progressive combat. They're trying to push the player to get out into the environment and explore it a little further. Where Gears of War is a very defensive-based cover shooter. You're always sort of waiting for the enemy to come up on you. This is sort of pushing you to get out into the enemy waves and be a little more active while still sort of maintaining that third-person shooter sensibility that Epic does so well. So it's a new studio, and the game looks really sharp. They put me through about 4 little training sessions yesterday. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to hit PC, and it's got some cool mechanics for social networking stuff lined up. It's going to be fun. That'll be a good game.
Nice. So, like, you're saying it takes you out into the environment, so,
well,
like...
It's more like, it's less about hiding in combat. It's more about getting out into the thick of combat. They're going to encourage you by having more capable weapons, in the middle of a stage as opposed to keeping you out to the fringes or keeping you out on the edges, just basically huddling down and waiting for enemies to come, which is more for me because I can't stand just sitting around. I have to play. I feel like I'm playing a game, and I feel like I'm waiting around when I play Gears.
Yeah. I don't even think you introduced him.
What? No. Did you? I thought you introduced yourself. Did I miss it?
I gave it to Foom, and then you
oh my god!
And I was like, screw it. They don't care.
Oh no! Oh, I failed. I failed as a host.
Don't worry about it. Nobody cares about me. They're only interested in my mustache.
That's all I've been staring at this whole time.
It's all about my cat and my mustache.
So does your cat have a mustache as well?
No, he does not, but we're working on it.
Oh.
We are. Awesome. I've actually thought about shaving every other part of the cat except for right above his upper lip. And it did not agree with that. It just sort of tried to run. No, my name is Conrad Zimmerman. I'm the news editor at Destructoid. I do a streaming channel on Twitch, streaming show on Twitch on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to noon Pacific, where we play through all the Xbox Live indie games every week, and then something, couch co-op friendly or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just a casual good time over on the Destructoid Twitch channel.
Just stone cold kicking it.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
I realize this may not be the best place to be.
No.
Hello.
Aw. Man, so back to this game. What was it called again?
It's called Mercenary Ops.
Mercenary Ops. That's kind of a generic name.
It is a really generic name. I kind of hope that they'll change it.
Like it's just like the working title?
Yeah, I think that's actually going to be final, and that's a little unfortunate. But the game does look good, at least, and visually it's pretty standard. It's not blowing any minds, but they've got a lot of work yet to go and so forth. It'll be out a little later this year, I think.
Awesome, man. Killer. Yeah. God, I think so far, I mean, beyond Lollipop Chainsaw and Dungeonland, there's nothing I can really talk about right now.
I know, right? There's a whole bunch of games that I've seen that I'd really like to be able to discuss.
Yeah,
but
it's like everything that I want to be like, I can't really get out there. Yeah. I did see Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD today.
I'm seeing that tomorrow.
Interviewed Tony Hawk.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it looks fantastic. I mean, I grew up playing the Tony Hawk games, and like the first time I ever played a Tony Hawk game, I totally saw it. I just like brushed it off. It was like one of my friends had it, and I was like, whatever. And he was like, no, you got to play it, man. And like I'm like, whatever. This is stupid. And then you spend like 5 minutes learning how to like grind and kickflip and everything, and then you just keep going for that high score and you don't stop.
I had exactly the same experience. I just moved in with a new roommate and he was all into it and I didn't really get it. And he hands the controller to me and within 20 minutes I'm, flipping ridiculous tricks and having a great time. When the second one came out, we had to buy 2 copies so that we wouldn't have to argue over whose turn it was to play. We just, play it off. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And it sounds like the mix of maps that they've got going into it is really strong and really indicative of the best of Tony Hawk 1 and 2, which is really where they should have stopped.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. I liked 3. I liked Tony Hawk 3. I would have stopped at 3 if it were me.
There's a lot of people who like 3. And they're okay. That's fine. I like people who like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. They're all right with me.
That's cool. We can get along.
We can still be friends.
All right.
Yeah. Do you think there's a chance that this will help them recover from the travesty that was Tony Hawk Ride? Or
oh, dude, no, yeah, absolutely, because it's
faith in the brand, so to speak.
It's just classic Tony Hawk.
Right,
I mean, that's all it is. Yeah, get rid of all the BS. Get rid of the like open world environment where you got to push stuff around to line up your tricks. Like, just get back to skating, picking up letters, and getting skate videos and knocking over boxes.
I'm totally fine with that. I think it's great that this game's coming back out, but I don't know that it's going to spell a more certain or bright future for the Tony Hawk franchise either, because I can just see them coming right back in and trying to throw in a whole bunch of new crap.
Yeah, well, I think what they'll do now is they'll just do the Tony Hawk 2 HD and the Tony Hawk 3 HD and be done with that, and then hopefully what I'm hoping is that seeing how well they do will convince them to go back to their roots with a new game and give us a game that isn't all open world and trying to be clever, but is just enjoyable in the same way that the original was.
Right,
because
bare bones fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like the problem with the game is they got to be like Madden, where they thought they had to put out a new version every year and make improvements on it. When really, I mean, they could have just made the same game that they had made in the first place without any improvements. and just new levels, and people would gobble it up. And I think,
but that's the Activision way. That's really what they do. They latch onto a good IP that's successful, and they've proven that as a business model, it's really effective to just pump those games out every year. It doesn't really matter if the brand itself ultimately suffers, because you weren't going to get that much money out of the brand if you played it safe anyway. Game series that run on more than 3 or 4 games tend to get really bad no matter what you do. Because you can't do the same thing over and over and over again. You have to iterate. You have to bring something fresh, or the game-buying consumer is going to be like, well, I played this already. Why am I playing it again? So it's really a problem from the standpoint of the consumer, but for the company, what the hell? You know, they make their money, they get their nut, they get it all out in 5 years, and then they're not dragging it out really as long either. It's not like a Capcom with Mega Man, where that IP has just been beaten to death over the course of the last 25 years.
You eventually get to that Jason Takes Manhattan stage.
Yes, Jason X is coming. That day arrives eventually for all
I liked Jason X.
Nobody's perfect.
The second you put anything in space, it's done.
Yeah.
Razor in space, done. Jason in space, done. What was the last the dinosaur survival horror? Dino Crisis.
And yet, I still want a Castlevania in space. I really do. I want a 2D. I want a 2D Castlevania in space where the Belmonts have fucking physically grafted vampire killer onto their arm. They're using it for whip swings and all sorts of ridiculous crap.
Like a laser whip.
And Castlevania's on the dark side of the moon.
Dude.
Bam.
That's not bad.
That's
not
that part.
terrible.
I had that idea, and then 6 months later, they announced, I think it was Aria of Sorrow, or the first one that has Soma and is set in the future. I was like, son of a bitch.
So close.
Beat me to it.
Yeah.
Man, like they'd never give me the license.
Well, with that said, as you're talking about like sequels getting stale, what do you think about Halo 4? I'm just curious. Like, what's your personal take? Don't care?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not a very big first-person shooter player in general, and the sci-fi, space marine first-person shooter is really, really played out by this point. Halo's a great series. They've got a really good grasp of first-person shooter mechanics. They make a solid game.
It's solid.
But I'm not going to get excited for yet another
Halo. Yeah.
It's tired.
But what if they put it on the dark side of the moon and he's fighting vampires?
I'm curious.
Would that
But then it won't
pique
fit, that won't fit with the Halo formula, and people will just get angry about it, and it would never fly.
Never fly.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, and that's another thing. That's another problem with sequels, is that you have to keep it somewhat within the vein of the others, but you can't go too far, because then you're going to lose that core audience that you developed. It's a really, really fine balance.
Find out the Flood was actually just pieces of Count Dracula all along, trying to put them back together.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like that Metroid Fusion thing with the X parasite. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Exactly. Could be done.
All right, well, moving on. So I did not actually go to the EA events last night, but you went, and you guys all went, right? You didn't go to EA?
I was at the first EA event last night.
Yeah.
And after some of that, I didn't need to go to any more EA events at GDC.
Yeah, so...
It was a SimCity event, and basically we all went there really excited to get the announcement for SimCity. And basically they confirmed SimCity was coming out, showed us like a minute and a half of a trailer that wasn't actually in-game gameplay. Didn't tell us anything new about the game, just kind of talked about old SimCity and what we loved about it, which... We're fans. We know what we loved about old SimCity.
Yeah, everybody knows why SimCity was awesome.
And it was hosted by IGN, which, again, you've got a press event for press hosted by press. Makes no sense. And then they brought on, what was his name? The Inconvenient... the Inconvenient Truth guy. Showed us a trailer for that movie, and we just heard him sit there and talk about his film and what famous people he knows and how much... global warming sucks, and then like oddly and very uncomfortably edited in SimCity title in there every now and then he would go back and talk about how famous he is.
Yeah, that was a really, really painful press
conference. It was awful. Awful.
I just found it incredibly disrespectful of our time.
Yeah.
Because it really didn't relate to the games, and the whole point of it was that EA is trying to push a games for change agenda, that they want to make these games that can have social issues tied into them, that they can be socially progressive, and I mean there's something to that. You have the Jane McGonigal research that's going on,
but
and so forth.
You can't promote a game
So what did all this have to do with
Exactly, it had nothing to do.
Was
It
there
had nothing to
anything
do with
SimCity?
The content that they were talking about actually did not have. It was very shoehorned. They were really trying to push SimCity into it.
What they did was they made us all come into this room and talk about global warming by forcing it into a game. When if you think about it, first of all, they wasted a lot of energy and power to talk about how much global warming sucks for a video game, which then if you think about it, the PCs that run these video games and the amount of time people spend playing these video games is also a huge waste of time and power. So it was really like, wait a second, that everything you're talking about is against the whole global warming message.
So is there global warming in SimCity now or something? Or where
Like, yeah.
It wasn't even limited just to global warming. I mean, it wasn't just the Davis Guggenheim. I didn't stick around after, like, once Davis left the stage, I was like, I can't take this crap anymore.
I couldn't stay.
But I mean, the other people that were there, they had the co-founder of Twitter, and they had the CEO of Charity Water.
SimCity, Twitter.
Well, and again, it's all about them trying to raise awareness of social issues and things like that through the game. There's going to be some concerted marketing efforts relating to it. There'll be partnerships with Charity Water and so forth. And so what they were really doing is providing an opportunity for these organizations to express their involvement in this upcoming brand convergence. But it was...
Gamers don't care.
Gamers don't care.
We just wanted to see the game, and the Davis guy kept talking about how he's been playing it with his son, yet they couldn't even show us gameplay.
My problem with Davis Guggenheim is that I felt really condescended to in that audience the entire time. At one point, he was like, I don't know if anyone here is old enough to remember high-8 cameras. And I was like, well, wasn't that an innovation like in the mid-'80s? Didn't that? I mean, it's not that old.
I like when he started trolling the audience. He was like, who here does not think global warming is an actual issue? Like, who's going to stand up and be like, yeah, me, sir, I don't think it is. He was very condescending, and he was a huge name dropper. Like, I don't need someone to try to talk me into why they're famous. Either. I just don't care.
I mean, SimCity, don't get me wrong, SimCity's going to be a great game.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that it has curvy roads now, that was huge for me. I was like, hell yeah, curvy roads. But again, even when they were talking about the actual game, they wouldn't even show us screenshots.
No.
They talked about curvy roads, they showed us Lombard Street. It's like, show me the game.
We've seen Lombard Street before.
So comparatively, how long was this thing? And like, so you got like 5 seconds of footage for sitting through 2 hours of BS, basically.
Well, they showed us all the footage. Everything they actually showed about the game was at the very beginning. They just came out and said, SimCity is a real thing. Here's a quick trailer of non-actual gameplay, and now sit through all these speeches. And most people did leave after the Davis guy.
It was the typical SimCity trailer, you know, where the city's building itself. It wasn't anything special there.
Did they use dubstep? Like, everything's using dubstep now.
Max's director, Lucy Bradshaw, was there on hand talking about, you know, the history of SimCity. And I really like Lucy Bradshaw. Like, she is someone who's got her head on straight. She knows how to manage a team of designers. They make good content. I thought, you know, Spore, Darkspore, those were fun games.
Yeah. Darkspore was fantastic.
Yeah, so I really like her, and I was actually, like, I felt really bad for her once she left the stage, and Davis came on and was like, this is your game, and this is what's happening. It was just bad.
Yeah, man. But, you know, also at the same time, there's always, like, one of these, like, press event fiascos at almost every convention. Like E3 has some really famous ones, like the Jamie Kennedy one.
Sure.
We
turned it around in the audience. I mean, Twitter was really pretty off the hook.
Very interesting.
That hour.
But I also thought it was kind of, I don't want to say rude, but it was odd that it was hosted by IGN. I mean, is it okay for them to review the game now because they just hosted an event supporting the game? Like, where's the journalistic line here?
Well, okay, here's where I look at it. I don't really have a problem with what IGN did, per se, because what they did is provide an opportunity for interview. Now, it was very clearly poorly scripted. That's kind of the problem I have. It seems like, you know, it was a requirement that the guy had to say SimCity at some point in every question. So, because it felt so staged, that's more the issue I have. If it had been conveyed in a way that seemed more casual or not so structured and planned, I'd have been all right with the interview format and having, it didn't really matter what journalist was up there. Journalists performing interviews during press conference scenarios is not unheard of. It's not, you know, some terrible conflict of interest issue, and I'm sure that person will not be the one who winds up reviewing the game anyway.
But I mean, like, so did IGN like co-host the event, or did they just
streamed it live?
They streamed it live.
Co-hosted it. Yeah, they had one of their staff interviewed each of the guests that was there and talked to them for 30 minutes. It was really dry.
So like when like something like this happens, is this like from a PR standpoint, is this like a total fiasco, or is it good because people are still talking about the game and the event?
Well, at this point, it's a first announcement. It doesn't really matter. They get to say SimCity as much as they want, and everyone will forget about this press conference in 3 months. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
because the gamers don't.
But like at the same time, it also like even though the conference like sucked, totally bombed, everybody was on Twitter being like, I'm at the SimCity press conference and it totally sucks. Yeah. And if they were just at the SimCity press conference, they probably would have never tweeted it out.
Right. It wasn't the game that was sucking. It was how they delivered it, but actually the little itty bitty little things we did hear about the game was awesome.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's like kind of like the old adage that there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right.
Like this might have actually worked towards EA's benefit.
I think there is such a thing as bad publicity. Like Paul Cristoforo, I think, kind of proved that to a certain extent. But at the same time, it's the first announcement. No one's going to remember in 2 months that there was this awful hour and a half of crap after the game was announced. Only people are going to remember that SimCity is coming out, and they could have taken a steaming deuce on that stage. It wouldn't have mattered. You can't hurt the brand.
And
that probably would have been better, right?
It's not actually called SimCity 5. It's SimCity.
SimCity. So total relaunch.
It's the age of reboots.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
I just can't wait to build my city and then walk around and crush it. I love destroying what I build.
Numbers are so over, man.
Speaking of reboots, the Medal of Honor sequel was announced as well, and there was a big event for that. Raychul, you attended the event, but explain this to them, because this is really amusing to me.
It's embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing. It's
embarrassing.
Hilarious.
Okay, so it wasn't just a Medal of Honor. Oh wait, I don't know if I can talk. I can't. I think I'm embargoed. Actually, I don't know if I can actually even. No, Medal of Honor. I'm not embargoed on. But I think what else was shown.
There was another game there.
Yes, and they played one trailer, and then they played the other trailer, and I talked about it, and then the person with me was like, oh, I think that was actually a trailer for Medal of Honor, and I thought it was the other game because it looked the same.
Yeah, it may or may not have been another military first-person shooter.
Yeah,
that looks exactly
the same. I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, if you can think of the other military first-person shooter that EA might be.
I've actually realized that I don't really know military shooters at all, because I'm just like, oh, they all look the same. So I've actually started buying military shooters so that I can figure out what the difference is from one series to the next. I just don't know.
Yeah, Battlefield 3 has like more vehicles and bigger environments, and Call of Duty is more like interacting with a Michael Bay film.
Right.
At least that's been my impression of the two of them. But yeah,
I love that description. That's awesome.
Yeah, I honestly think like military first-person shooters, it shouldn't be a genre. First-person shooter should be a genre. And Medal of Honor, we can kind of blame Medal of Honor for this though in a lot of ways, because the original series was so popular and like really brought this sort of gameplay to the forefront as far as like you're a soldier fighting during an actual war.
There were like Medal of Honor, what was it, Rising Sun, I think it was called?
Yeah,
that
Rising
was kind
Sun.
of cool, where you start off in the Pearl Harbor bombing.
Yeah,
you're actually in a ship. That was a pretty...
Yeah.
For its time, it was pretty cool.
Frontline was the best, because they just ripped off the intro to Saving Private Ryan when you stormed the beaches of Normandy, and like that was epic for the time. But now it's just gotten out of hand. I feel like everything's a military first-person shooter. I don't really like them.
I'm tired of them.
I don't think anybody likes them anymore. Honestly, hardcore gaming was.
I don't feel like they have much of a standalone personality.
Battlefield sales would beg to differ, though. Excruciatingly well. I think that there is a segment of our culture who is tired of the military shooter, but they don't design military shooters for that audience. Military shooters are designed for a mass audience. It's the core gamer. That concept of the core gamer, as we think of it, actually encompasses frat houses and lots of other people that I would never socialize with under any circumstance. And so those people are out buying those games and playing them, and they love them. And
absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think it's kind of like also the same group where it's the Madden mentality. It's a lot of the Madden gamers really don't go outside of Madden. They stick to Madden. And I think with like Modern Warfare, it's the same thing. A lot of them kind of stick to just that genre, and they only play like that.
I do have a lot of friends like that where I can't get them off Call of Duty. That's all they play.
Yeah.
It's like there's other games, better games.
They might try out Battlefield or something like that, but once they pick their spot, they don't move. And that's
Right.
what I think these guys are selling to.
It's like the Coke and Pepsi almost of the gaming industry. Yeah.
Yep.
And that makes me. Oh well, yeah. To each their own. I mean, if that's what people want to buy, that's what people want to buy.
As long
You
as
can't
they
really
keep
fault
making
them.
cool games and they don't all become the same thing.
Well, really, I mean, it's almost like all of this stuff is funding the cool stuff in a lot of ways.
It really
yeah.
is. I mean, when I was in college, I was playing Quake 2. That was like the last game, last first-person shooter. I was like, oh my god, Quake 2 is amazing. And then everything was going multiplayer, and so I went to consoles because I didn't want to play multiplayer. Consoles weren't connected. Now all the consoles are connected, and I'm totally fucked. So I might as well just, go in with my lot, give up, and get into my military shooters, and why not?
Put on the uniform, shave your head, put the uniform on.
It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. Well, that's the thing. The market, the open market dictates the direction that the industry goes.
Yeah.
The market wants shooters.
Yeah.
Yep.
But see, I'm also the same. I don't like a whole lot of multiplayer games. I find that a lot of multiplayer games don't really have much personality, and I don't really get immersed in them like I do single player. But I have been finding that a lot of other gamers are the same, and that's why we're getting some really cool multiplayer shooters like Borderlands. I loved, but normally I'm not that big of a multiplayer shooter.
Right, yeah. I had exactly the same experience with Borderlands myself. My fiance, who is not she can't even play a game that's first person, generally speaking. She gets so immersed that she freaks out. It's really kind of adorable. She's just like, oh my god, there's a scary thing. She's a sweetheart. You can catch her on my show on Saturday mornings. We drag her on for that. But I got her into Borderlands, and so, I mean, that was a really great bonding experience. We would local play across the Xboxes in the apartment, go online with our friends, and make a night out of it. And I can't wait for the sequel, because I know it's just going to be more and more and more.
Oh, God.
And I think that's where Borderlands kind of gets by. I think it's less competitive, more cooperative.
Yeah.
I think that draws a lot of people in that normally aren't maybe into first-person shooters.
It's going to have some really shitty writing this time around, though.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be so bad. Anthony Birch is writing it. It's going to be awful.
Yes. No.
No. We love Anthony.
Sorry,
Anthony's
Kevin.
great. It's going to be so good. I can't wait.
No, I'm pumped for that game. Borderlands is one of the few games that I am still playing over a year after it came out.
So good.
Like, especially like in the game industry, like when you're reviewing games constantly, you're always getting new stuff. Like, stuff can get lost in the wash. But Borderlands, I'm consistently going back to it.
I find it hard to get hype, really, about video games. I've been doing this for enough years now where I can sort of see what's coming.
Yeah, you get jaded. You get jaded.
I don't know if jaded's the right word. I still love video games. It's not that I dislike, things or I get tired of them. But I know what's coming, more or less. And then something like Borderlands comes along where you're just like, holy fucking shit, and your head whips, And so the sequel is, if they don't do it right, then I don't know what to think anymore.
I think they're doing it right.
Yeah, I think they are.
Am I the only person on Earth that really didn't like Borderlands?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I've actually talked to other people that didn't like it. I'm like, what?
There was something about it I couldn't get into. I love loot. I love
The story's
first-person
terrible
shooters.
in the first Borderlands.
Yeah, the story was. I don't know. I guess I've had my fill of not only post-apocalyptic settings, but the loot didn't. I'm not a first-person shooter guy, so the different guns didn't appeal to me.
Did you try playing it alone the first time?
I've actually owned it 4 different times.
Oh,
to get back into it. I've tried to give it so many chances, and it just never clicked with me.
It's like, wow. I don't know what to
I
tell
know,
you.
right?
Maybe, maybe there's
There's
you have some genetic mutation or
disorder,
something.
I don't know.
It's your mutant power is to dislike Borderlands.
But like we were talking about earlier, I am also a fan of like the Deadliest Warrior games and stuff like that. So maybe I'm just out there. Maybe I'm just different. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. I like the Dynasty Warrior Gundam games,
Yeah.
and I know they're bad. We
Yeah.
all have our guilty pleasure games. But not liking Borderlands, man. I mean, why?
I don't know.
can't
All
believe
my
we had
friends
you
were
on
just,
our
and maybe
show.
that was it. It was one of those, all your friends love it so much, you almost you feel that mentality like I don't
you
like
have
it. It's
to.
too popular. It's just
Like,
too.
I
They're trying to
want-
push me into it too much, and I think I just snubbed it and was done with it.
Well, there was a serious concern when Borderlands came out because it arrived around some very high-profile releases, and there was an expectation that it could just be completely overlooked. I think it came out right after Reach.
Yeah.
Was it? Or?
No. Reach came out after Borderlands, but I think it came out around the same time as like Red Dead Redemption or something huge like that.
There were like two big games on either side of it when it launched, and so I was really concerned that it would fail, and then to see it grow so successful was really, really heartening.
I think at first it did kind of fly under the radar for a lot of people, and then it was just all the talk and the hype, and then
word of mouth really spread that game.
Absolutely.
You really got to give it up for Gearbox. Like, I have not seen them develop a crappy game, and I know a lot of people say Duke Nukem Forever, but they didn't develop that. 3D Realms developed it. They published it.
They just cashed in on it.
Yeah, they were just smart enough to realize, like, if they put out a 10-year-old game with a $60 price tag, they would make a lot of money.
And they did.
Yes, they absolutely did. But, I mean, their actual original games are genius. Like, Aliens, Colonial Marines looks like it's going to be freaking awesome.
Amazing.
God, what else are they working on? They're working on a couple other things that I can't recall at the moment. But everything I see from them is, like, pretty much guaranteed I'm going to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.